religious feast, today is being observed as a public holiday in Cameroon according to a presidential arrêté. Away from that, we take you to Douala in the littoral region to talk about health officials who have fine-tuned strategies on how to reduce the prevalence of the rate of hepatitis B and C in Cameroon. This was during an international forum on hepatitis, on where it was disclosed that over 2 million Cameroonians are exposed to this disease. Details of this story with Lorian Gamini.
The situation in Cameroon seems worrisome regarding the rate of hepatitis virus, as the country's prevalence rate stands at 11.9%, with 2 million Cameroonians exposed to hepatitis B virus and 2,000 infected with the hepatitis C virus, according to national statistics. Specialists say hepatitis B and C are the most dangerous amongst the viral disease, which greatly affects the liver, causing cirrhosis and liver cancer.
The main problem is that we don't have all these hepatitis carriers because they are not screened. So we have to screen them and to know that they have hepatitis, and then we follow up. Because the Ministry of Health is trying to do that, we can test and treat now because we have the drugs.
While the government of Cameroon is making strides to reduce the cost in treating these deadly and costly viral diseases, health experts say the population should be conscious in fighting against these diseases.
The main way of transmission we must fight against is mother-to-child transmission. And we are going to focus on that because in Cameroon we are doing some progress regarding that. Because the other mode of transmission is sexual, but mainly by blood. So we must secure the blood transmission. But if we succeed to cancel the mother-to-child transmission, it's going to be a great thing for Cameroon, because most of the child contaminated are going to go to cirrhosis.
It is in a bid to remedy the threat that health specialists from various countries are meeting in Douala for the first international forum on hepatitis in Cameroon, which will run from the 17th to the 18th of August, an initiative of SOS Hepatitis.
I'll talk about the installation of the first ever National Bureau of Trade Unions of Tradi practitioners in Cameroon. During the ceremony, their president, Martin Happy, called on the government to frankly collaborate with them in order to provide good health services in the country. Details of this story with Irene Mekonsho.
Practitioners in traditional medicine in Cameroon have now a trade union known by its French acronym as SINAPRAM. The members were officially installed today in Yaoundé at their Extraordinary General Assembly, chaired by the representative of the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Monjofo Matilda.
Of traditional medicine, and this is in the primary healthcare sector. That's just to tell you that traditional medicine plays an important part in terms of health coverage. Now, looking at the laws governing the traditional medicine, we've just heard that we are in the process of developing this law with the various partners, and the parliament will be presented to parliament where it will be adopted.
Speaking at the occasion, the president of the union, Martin Happy, called on government to legally recognize traditional medicines in Cameroon's parliament and to frankly collaborate with them to eliminate major challenges so far hampering the smooth functioning of the activities in the sector.
This is a very difficult task that we are engaged to. It is very difficult because when we started this organization, the syndicate, it was not easy because I, like a naturopath, a researcher on medicinal plants, we have been for long aiming to this occasion, but it was not a success because when we move out there, we meet children that the charlatans, that they misuse people's health, producing drugs without no good properties in it, using containers that are not sanitized for, and for long we have been moving since the creation of my own association, which is RENPAM, 1995, and with the drug that I protected at Loa PE, Panas African, we struggled for long. The difficult.
These traditional medicines have so far made impacts on many Cameroonians and their families, as testified by some of the practitioners.
With any medical doctor, On the contrary, most of them, we work in collaboration because I have some of these medical doctors who used to come to me and collect drugs and treat patients in the hospital, Panacea. And we treat so many diseases. I'm a specialist in like hepatitis A, B, and C.
With the new bureau, however, the days ahead seems promising for these researchers and experts in traditional medicines.
We take you back to the littoral region, this time in Banga, where some bike riders have decided to take part in manual labor activities in order to promote hygiene in their neighborhood. The activity that takes place weekly is being coordinated by the president of this trade union, Aseko Bojimia, tells us in the following report.
Every Thursday in Banga has been set aside for hygiene and sanitation. Bike riders and Banga have decided to pull the bull by the horn to keep their neighborhood clean through a hygiene and sanitation exercise. This activity, which is carried out once every week, seeks at not only valorizing their profession, but also to prove to the population that bike riders could as well be useful elsewhere.
As for the labor, the manual labor, we do it every Thursday. We started at the Kombe village at the Chief Palace. Go down to down to Kumbega, the neighboring village, and the other week we're there, and today we are here. That is how we're doing it. And out of peace, we are trying to make sure that Okada people have respect. Talk about respect, you know. Everybody knows that Okada people are some kind of people. That is why we are trying to make the difference.
The exercise, which is done every Thursday of the week, is coordinated by the president of Banga Motorbike Transport Riders Trade Union, who also ensures the sector is well organized through the identification of bike riders, make sure they all have their documents, and denounce every act of insecurity.
We want to identify all our members in Kumbe so that if anybody comes without a badge, we were able to identify that this person is a stranger, and we'll call for that person for a question. If we discover that and we identify bikes, if we like asking your document of the bike, we have efforts that are going around to make sure that any new bike is called for order.
The initiative, which has been carried out in some public offices, the DO of Mbanga, Vobikame Armstrong, who have saluted their effort, has called on other youths to follow this example of promoting hygiene and sanitation, hard work, not leaving out reporting cases of threats to security and violence.
Banga in the littoral region will now take you to the Nyong and So division of the Center region, where personnel of the Elections Cameroon ELECAM have expressed their readiness to effectively carry out their duty during the presidential elections come October 7th. They were speaking during the weekend in Baomayo during a working visit of the Vice President of Elections Cameroon. Details in the following report.
All is set in the Nyong and So division of the Center region at the level of Elections Cameroon for the October 7, 2018 presidential election. The conclusion was made after a 4-hour working session held Friday in Baomayo by the Vice President of the Electoral Board of ELECAM, Amugu Ni Abena Ekobena Marie, with personnel of all 6 council branches of Elections Cameroon in the Nyong and So division.
What we are doing at ELECAM now is to have an answer as soon as possible. When they raise a request, our job is to solve the problems, and we think that the new team of election Cameroon is ready.
The exchange that was frank and sincere permitted the officials to dot the I's and cut the T's. In all, there are 292 polling stations and a total of 53,399 potential voters who have registered their names on the electoral registers in the division. The personnel, however, expressed the need for more workers, rolling equipment and power suppliers to effectively carry out their tasks when time comes.
We need more personnel, temporary personnel, and material, physical material.
In response, the Vice President of the Electoral Board of Elections Cameroon reassured them that their problems will be channeled to hierarchy for immediate solutions, given that the countdown to Elections Day is very crucial.
From Nyong and So division of the Central Region, we now take you to the Ja and Lobo division to talk about the launch of rehabilitation works in that area, Zoetele, to develop the bad states of roads there. The project initiated by Minister Louis-Paul Motaze, who happens to be a son of the soil of Zoetele, aims at rehabilitating some 144 kilometers of roads in the next 5 months. The project, which is carried out by 3 different companies, will go a long way to improve and ease movement from one area to another. And we now Cameroon to Mali, where the newly elected president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, must work towards halting the spread of Islamic militancy in Mali and across the regions, as Joyce Denangwang tells us more in the following report.
Mali's President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, 73, has won re-election with an overwhelming majority in a runoff vote marred by militant violence and accusations of fraud by the country's opposition. The closely watched polls was seen as a bellwether for the country's stability as it is facing turmoil with Islamist militants using the central and northern parts of the country as a stepping stone to attack the West. President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, in his second mandate, is expected to deploy policies which prevent the crisis from escalating, reforming the army, the apparatus of the state, and even a drive to wipe out corruption. The election campaign revolved around the key issues of security, economy, job creation, and poverty reduction, as Mali ranks 175th out of 188 countries on the United Nations Humanitarian Development Index. Last year, it recorded a robust economic growth despite the challenging security situation. Financial issues as well as food insecurity remain within the country, ranking it amongst the poorest countries in the world despite its vast natural resources, as Mali is the 3rd largest gold producer in Africa. Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta is therefore confronted with the task of solving the country's economic challenges as well as dealing with the security problems, amongst many others.
We take you to Uganda, where the Afrobeat musician turned politician Bobi Wine, who was severely beaten by security forces, is unable to walk and talk, according to his lawyers. This follows his arrest by security forces ahead of parliamentary elections that took place last Wednesday. Joyce Zanangwang once more.
The opposition member of parliament has appeared at the military court in the northern town of Gulu, where he was charged with 2 counts of unlawful possession of firearms and 1 count of unlawful possession of ammunition, but not treason as previously reported.
The government acts as the government of all Ugandans. It shouldn't be segregative, because if other people are doing things, the same things Kyagulanyi is doing, we don't see why Kyagulanyi and a few members would be picked out.
We are demanding Robert Kyagulanyi Sentamu live within 48 hours.
Bobi Wine was arrested after a vehicle in President Yoweri Museveni's convoy was attacked on Monday in the town of Arua ahead of Wednesday's fiercely contested by-election. Wine's driver was later shot dead in what the MP described as an attempt to kill him. His ally, Cassiano Wadri, who won the Arua poll, was earlier charged with treason alongside 31 others. Authorities have not responded to the allegation that 36-year-old Wine, who has long been an outspoken critic of Uganda's government, was assaulted while in custody. Wednesday's by-election was triggered by the unsolved June assassination of Ibrahim Abiriga, the late ruling party member of parliament.
And we now talk sports in this newscast. Since the relegation of Bambutus of Mbuda to Division 2 of Cameroon's championship, commentators say huge crisis is surrounding the club. Multiple attempts by club lawyers to send petition have been rejected by FIFA, who earlier instructed that no petition will be accepted. Belinda Ju now looks into this situation.
Relegated since several weeks now, at the 18th position of the League 2 Cameroonian Championship, things seem to be getting worse for Club Bambutos of Buda. Engaged in an affair concerning the non-payment of its coach, Joan Bell, FIFA decided to impose club's drop to League 2 after Coach Bell had transferred complaints to the World Football Highest Institution. According to resources, Jacques Blothen, Deputy Secretary in the Disciplinary Commission of FIFA, sent a letter to Cameroon's Football Federation demanding the resolution of the affair and the club's relegation on April 12. The letter, which was transmitted to Bambutos on the 7th May 2018, gave a deadline of 30 days for the club to resolve the dues. FIFA earlier instructed the non-attempt of the club to present a petition, a decision confirmed by Belgian lawyers recently recruited by Bambutos to transmit the affair to the Sport Arbitrary Tribunal, CHAS, since the club lawyers earlier failed to do so. Confusion now lies in the issue.
African television, Visionska television. I'm here to talk about Zoitele. Zoitele in the south region of Cameroon, precisely in the Ja and Lobo division, which has now been transformed into a vast construction site. If you go now to Zoitele, what are you going to see as a visitor in Zoitele? You are going to see heavy duty trucks which have been deployed on the ground. You are going to see heavy duty machines, construction work machines and equipment which have been deployed on the ground in Zoitele. And what is the intention? The intention of this deployment is to transform the area, the Zoitele area, into a vast construction site and provide Zoitele with rural and urban stretches of road. There will be rural and urban stretches of road now in Zoitele. And this is the initiative of President Paul Biya to the people of that area of the country. And the person who is ensuring this on the ground is Louis-Paul Motase, Cameroon's Minister of Finance, who is on the ground to ensure that President Biya's vision of Zoitele, a locality to be transformed into a vast construction site, providing stretches of road to the people, is ensured. And there is no campaign promises in Zoitele. That is Louis-Paul Motase, as you can see him there on your screen. This is a man who has no campaign promises, but his guiding post is what are we doing in Zoitele? He's showing the people what the government is doing in Zoitele, and he's not telling the people what the government is going to do in Zoitele. So what is the government doing in Zoitele? What is President Paul Biya doing in Zoitele? President Paul Biya is transforming Zoitele into a vast construction site, making sure that Zoitele has rural and urban stretches of road. And Louis-Paul Motase is the man on the ground to ensure that this is effectively done. And Prince Kangase, we are going to give you some of those areas in Zoitele which will be transformed. We have Koloma. If you go to Koloma now in Zoitele, you realize that works are going on the ground. If you go to Carrefour Meye Boto, that's how they call it. Yeah, Carrefour Meye Boto, it has been transformed into a vast construction site. Those are what's going on the ground there. Those are the tipper trucks, those are the heavy duty machines which are now in Zoitele. If you go to Carrefour Full Aja is one of those areas which used to be abandoned, but now there is a road network which has been put in place in that part of the country. And then if you go to Nkolobang, it is still in Zoitele. It has been transformed. All together, we're going to have 4 main contractors who are on the ground to ensure the work, and we're going to have the contractors have 5 months. That is the deadline which have been given to the contractors to ensure that Zoitele is transformed, not only in a vast construction site, but the provision of all the stretches of roads in that area. It is 144. That is what is on the ground, kilometers of road. But when we spoke to the mayor of Zoitele, Madame Odilingwa told us that there is an additional 15 kilometer stretches of road, which means that it is not only 144 kilometers of road in Zoitele, but it is beyond Zoitele. And those are the highlights of Zoitele. You can see there on your screen, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Government, Elang Obam, as they call him in Zoitele. Elang Obam, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, who was on the ground to show the people what the government is doing to bring development in the local development, in particular in the area of Zoitele. And
I'm sure the local population, they are really happy about this.
They have to be happy, Priska. Why? They have to be happy because if you give a people roads, the mayor, Madame Odilingwa, told us where the road passes, development follows. So where you have roads, you are going to have continued economic growth. Continued economic growth is now ensured and assured in Zoitele. Government's poverty reduction strategy comes through good roads in an area. So that one is ensured in Zoitele. And then you are going to improve and the access now to isolated areas, leaving Zoitele now to an area like Minkumu. people will no longer face a lot of difficulties as they used to face before, but it is now going to go, especially during the rainy season. And of course, transport cost will be lowered. Transport costs will be lowered now in many areas in Zoitele. So this is what President Paul Biya is doing, not only in Zoitele, but if you go to the Jar and Lobo in general, because we went right up to Sangmelima. We went right up to Sangmelima and realized that 10 streets are being given a facelift in Sangmelima. 10 streets, it is not easy. 10 streets are being given a facelift now in Sangmelima. So there's continued economic growth, not only in the south region of Cameroon. With President Paul Biya, it is all over Cameroon. But I want to say something very important. You have an elite like Louis-Paul Moutaze. He is an epitome of what an elite should represent in Cameroon. Elites in other areas should do what the minister is doing in his area, so as to ensure that President Biya's vision of 2035 emerging Cameroon becomes a reality. If other elites in other areas are doing the same thing,
have to copy that.
Copy the example of Louis-Paul Moutaze. By 2035, all the areas in Cameroon will be developed. Local development in particular.
I also knew that, or came to understand that this project is part of the public investments.
It is part of the public investment budget, the public investment budget for 2018, enshrined at the Ministry of the Economy and Regional Development. But now, public investment budget on the ground, how efficient are they? How are they being applied? This is an example. Public investment budget is not only for a particular area, it is for the country in general. But there are some areas where the elites are not ensuring the effective implementation. That is where Louis-Paul Moutaze marks the difference. He is now showing us that he is an elite who wants things to be done. We are in a campaign period. President Paul Biya goes to the poll with other Cameroonians, 8 of them, for electors to vote him. Now, if you go to Zoitele, the people are going to tell you that, yeah, we don't have campaign promises. In Zoitele, there are no campaign promises. There is nothing like, this is what we are going to do in Zoitele. In Zoitele, the people will tell you that this is what is being done on the ground. So if you go to Zoitele, what else do you have to do? And apart from roads, there are going to be other development projects, local development projects, because electricity will be something that will be done. And of course, we are going to have potable waters very soon in all of those localities.
Roland, I want to find out if the population was actually assured that the project is going to continue after October.
The divisional officer of Zoitele, you heard him said it very well. The divisional officer of Zoitele was very clear. He said it, that he hopes that the deadline, the 5 months deadline for all the execution of the project will be respected. Are you sure they will not be respected? Come to think of it, on the ground, what do you see? Excavation of works going on, drainage of channels going on, the bituminous of codes to be applied in the new roads is already taking place. So it is certain that in 5 months' time, Zoitele will be transformed into a complete new area. And then number 2, the job description, the divisional officer said it, has to be respected. Job description, what is it? So if you have to apply this stretch of road, make sure that it is respected. Our reporter asked that question, and the population, the beneficiary of it all, they were very elated. You spoke to some of them, Priska, on the ground. And the divisional officer of Zoitele is asking the population to collaborate with the contractors who are coming on the ground to execute the projects, collaborate with them. And he said it very clear that if anybody has an infringement, for example, that your land, because what is being done in Zoitele is not construction, it is rehabilitation. So if your land has a problem, come and present the problem to the appropriate authorities, and then we'll see what is going to be done. So in a nutshell, if you go now to Zoitele in the south region of Cameroon, you realize that Nkoloma in Zoitele has been transformed. Carrefour Meyiboto has been transformed. Carrefour Fulaja, that's what they told us, Fulaja. It has been transformed. And then Kolobang, all of those areas have been transformed. And then we went right up to Sangmelima, which is an extension of the project.
Especially behind the reference hospital.
Behind the reference hospital. So it is the entire Jar and Lobo division which is being transformed, thanks to the magnanimity of His Excellency President Paul Biya, and thanks to his apostle Louis-Paul Moutaze, who is on the ground to ensure that his promises for the people of Zoitele is effectively implemented. In Zoitele for 2018, it is Paul Biya who is the man of Zoitele. The people of Zoitele told us, you remember Maurice Undwa, who is the section president of the CPDM party in Zoetele, they told us. You remember Jean-Faustin Bekono, who is the chargé de mission of the CPDM party of the Central Committee delegation to Zoetele. He also told us. Lipon Motaze is the head of the Central Committee delegation to the Ja and Elobo division. When he goes down on the field, he's not going to tell the people promises. He's going to show them that this is what President Paul Biya is doing in Zoetele. Thanks, Ms. Kangase, for having me.
Thank you very much, Roland Akon. Ladies and gentlemen, it is on that note that we come to an end of the morning, to the morning news on Vision Card. Thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more interesting programs. I leave you in the company of Albertine Bichaka.